Commander He-jin stood at the main viewing window of the HFY horizon, watching the rings of Saturn glisten in the distant sunlight. After 6 months in deep space, the sight still took his breath away. The mission was humanity's first venture this far into the solar system, and every day brought new discoveries. "Commander," called Science Officer Jai-ho from his station, "I'm picking up strange energy readings near the outer edge of the rings. They don't match any known natural phenomena." He-jin walked over to Jai-ho's screen, his magnetic boots making soft clicking sounds against the metal floor. The readings showed a concentrated energy source, too regular to be natural. "Could it be a malfunction?" he asked. Engineer Sun Mai, who had been running diagnostics nearby, shook her head. "All systems are working perfectly, sir. Whatever we're seeing out there, it's real." The bridge crew fell silent as they processed this information. They were supposed to be alone out here. No other human ships could have reached this far yet. "Plot a course to investigate," He-jin ordered. "But keep our distance. We don't know what we're dealing with." As the HFY horizon moved closer to the energy source, something began to emerge from behind one of Saturn's larger rings. At first, it looked like a shadow, but as they got closer, they could see it was a structure, sleek, metallic, and definitely not human-made. "Are we recording this?" He-jin asked, his voice steady despite the gravity of the situation. "Every sensor we have is running at full capacity," Jai-ho confirmed. "The structure appears to be about 3 times the size of our ship." Suddenly, their communication system crackled to life. A voice spoke in perfect English, though it had an odd musical quality to it. "Earth Ship Horizon, this is Ambassador Xith of the Galactic Council. We have been expecting you." The bridge crew exchanged shocked looks. He-jin took a deep breath before responding. "This is Commander He-jin of the Earth Fleet Ship Horizon. We weren't expecting anyone." A soft chuckle came through the speakers. "No, you wouldn't have been. Please, dock with our station. There is much we need to discuss." He-jin looked at his crew. Sun Med nodded at the engineering readouts. "The docking system they're broadcasting is compatible with ours. They've studied our technology." "Of course we have." Ambassador Xith's voice came again. "We've been studying everything about your species for a very long time. After careful consideration and consultation with Earth Command, though the response took 40 minutes to reach them, He-jin agreed to dock with the alien station. The docking procedure went smoothly, almost as if the alien station was designed specifically for their ship. When the airlock opened, Ambassador Xith was waiting for them. The alien was humanoid in basic shape, but that's where the similarities ended. Their skin had a slight silvery sheen, and their eyes were large and completely black, reflecting the light like mirrors. "Welcome," Xith said, spreading their 4-fingered hands in what appeared to be a peaceful gesture. "We have prepared an environment suitable for human comfort." He-jin, along with Jai-ho and cultural leis in Taiwan, followed the ambassador through corridors that looked surprisingly Earth-like. The temperature, gravity, and air composition were perfect for humans. They entered a large room with wall-to-wall screens showing various scenes from Earth's history. He-jin recognized some of them: the first moon landing, the Mars colony establishment, the development of fusion power. But there were also scenes he'd never seen before: ancient battles, natural disasters, and moments of human triumph over seemingly impossible odds. "You see," Xith said, gesturing to the screens, "we have watched your species climb from the depths of your oceans, survive ice ages, create art, develop technology, and reach for the stars. But what fascinates us most is not what you've achieved. It's how you achieved it." Taiwan stepped forward, his diplomatic training kicking in. "I don't understand. Many species must have followed similar paths of development." Xith turned those mirror-like eyes toward him. "No, cultural leis in Taiwan. They did not. When other species faced extinction-level events, most perished. When they encountered problems they couldn't solve, they accepted their limitations. But humans. The ambassador paused, touching a control that brought up more images. Humans adapt. They innovate. They refuse to accept failure as an outcome. The screen showed humans surviving in every environment on Earth, from the freezing poles to burning deserts. They showed people recovering from devastating injuries, learning to walk again, creating new technologies to overcome disabilities. Your species turned your weaknesses into strengths. Sith continued. No natural armor? You created it. No claws? You made tools. No wings? You built machines to fly. Too fragile? You developed medicine that can rebuild bodies. Too short-lived? You're working on extending your lifespans. Hajin watched the displays with growing understanding. You're not just observing us. You're worried about us. Yes, Sith admitted. The Galactic Council has been divided about how to handle humanity's emergence into space. Some advocate for immediate containment. Others argue for guidance and integration. Containment? Jeho asked sharply. You mean imprisonment? Some council members fear what humanity might become. Sith explained. They look at your history of conflict, your rapid technological advancement, your ability to adapt and overcome any obstacle, and they see a potential threat. Hajin straightened his shoulders. And what do you see, Ambassador? I see possibility, Sith replied. But I also see why my colleagues are afraid. Let me show you something. The ambassador led them to another room, this one containing what appeared to be a museum of technological achievements from various species. Every civilization here advanced in a predictable pattern, following the natural laws of technological progression we thought were universal. But humans. Sith pointed to a display showing Earth's technological timeline. You skip steps. You make intuitive leaps. You find solutions that shouldn't be possible with your level of development. Is that why this observation post is here? Hajin asked. To watch us. Partly, Sith admitted, but also to ensure you reached this point safely. There are elements within the Council who might have preferred to prevent this meeting entirely. Taiwan's eyes widened. You've been protecting us. Some of us have. Others have been gathering evidence to justify more drastic measures. Sith turned to face them directly. Your discovery of our outpost was inevitable. Now we must decide what comes next. Hajin looked at the displays again, seeing humanity's history through alien eyes for the first time. Every disaster overcome, every innovation created, every barrier broken, all of it leading to this moment. What comes next, Hajin said firmly, is that we talk as equals. Because if your council fears what humanity might do as an enemy, they should consider what we could accomplish as allies. Sith's expression was unreadable, but there was something like approval in their voice. That, Commander Hajin, is exactly what I hoped you would say. But I must warn you, proving humanity's worth to the Council will not be easy. They will test you. Good, Hajin replied, sharing a determined look with his crew. Humans are very good at tests. As they continued their discussion, none of them noticed the small light blinking on one of the control panels, a signal being sent to the distant Council, carrying news of humanity's arrival. The message was brief, but would send shockwaves through galactic civilization. First contact established. Human potential confirmed. Proceeding with assessment phase. The pieces were set. The real test of humanity was about to begin. 3 days after their first contact with Ambassador Sith, the crew of the HFY Horizon found themselves facing their first major challenge. The Galactic Council had not waited long to test humanity's capabilities. The star Proxima Centauri is dying, Ambassador Sith explained, showing holographic projections in the station's main conference room. Much faster than it should be. If it goes supernova, it will destroy several inhabited worlds in nearby systems. Commander Hajin studied the data carefully. How long do we have? 2 Earth months at most, Sith replied. The Council has already ordered evacuations of the closest systems, but millions will still die if the star explodes. No species in the Council has found a way to prevent it. Science Officer Jaho leaned forward, his eyes fixed on the swirling hologram of the dying star. Have they tried everything? They've tried everything they could think of, Sith said, which is why this is your test. Show us how humans approach an impossible problem. He-Jin looked at his crew. Engineer Sunmai was already taking notes, her fingers moving quickly across her tablet. Jaho had that distant look he got when his mind was racing through possibilities. We'll need all the data you have, He-Jin said. Everything about the star, the affected systems, and previous attempts to solve this. Sith nodded and transferred an enormous amount of information to their systems. You have full access to the Council's scientific archives regarding this situation. But remember, we've had our best minds working on this for months. They found no solution. That's because they're not human, Sunmai said quietly, not looking up from her tablet. Everyone turned to look at her, and she finally raised her eyes. Sorry, that sounded arrogant. What I mean is, we think differently. We see patterns others might miss because we're used to working with limitations. Jaho nodded enthusiastically. She's right. Look at this data. Every attempted solution follows perfect logical progression. But sometimes the best answers aren't logical. Sometimes you have to try the impossible to achieve the impossible. He-Jin turned to Sith. We'll need to return to our ship. We work better in familiar surroundings. Back aboard the HFY Horizon, the crew gathered in the ship's research lab. The walls were covered with holographic displays showing different aspects of the dying star. Sunmai had created a simplified model that floated in the center of the room, its unstable core pulsing with dangerous energy. The problem isn't just the star's death, Jaho explained to the team. It's the way it's dying. Something is accelerating the process, making it unstable in ways that shouldn't be possible naturally. Could it be artificial? He-Jin asked, watching the model closely. Sunmai shook her head. No signs of technological interference. But look at these energy patterns. She highlighted several swirling streams in the model. They're feeding back into themselves, creating a cascade effect. It's like a pump, Jaho suddenly exclaimed. It's like a pump that can't be turned off. The star is caught in a cycle, feeding its own destruction. For the next several days, the crew worked almost non-stop. They developed and discarded dozens of theories. They ran hundreds of simulations. They looked at the problem from every angle they could imagine. On the fourth day, during a rare break for food, Sunmai was absently stirring her coffee when she froze. What if we're thinking about this backward? She said slowly. What do you mean? He-Jin asked. Everyone's been trying to stop the star from dying. But what if we helped it die faster? Jaho merely choked on his drink. That's the opposite of what we're trying to do. No, listen, Sunmai insisted, pulling up the star model again. The star is caught in a feedback loop, right? Like water circling a drain. But what if we could control that process? Guide it. Turn it into something useful. Understanding dawned on Jaho's face, like a controlled burn to prevent a forest fire. Exactly. Sunmai's fingers flew across the controls, modifying the model. If we could create controlled quantum singularities at these points, she marked several spots around the star, we could siphon off the excess energy, like opening relief valves on a pressure cooker. He-Jin watched the new simulation run. In it, the star's violent energy was gradually drawn off through the quantum singularities, reducing the pressure at its core. Would this save the star? No, Jaho admitted. The star will still die. But it would die slowly, naturally, over thousands of years instead of exploding now. We can't save it, but we can give it a peaceful death. When they presented their solution to Ambassador Sith, the alien was silent for a long time. You want to create multiple quantum singularities, Sith said finally. Do you realize how dangerous that would be? Of course we do, He-Jin replied. But we've run the numbers. With precise calculations and proper positioning, we can control them. It's risky, but it's better than doing nothing. The Council has strict regulations about creating quantum singularities, Sith warned. They're considered too unstable, too unpredictable. Then maybe the Council needs to learn what humans know. Sun Mai said. Sometimes you have to take a controlled risk to prevent a bigger disaster. Sith studied their plans carefully. You would need incredibly precise calculations. The slightest error could make things worse. That's why we'll test it first, Jai-Ho explained, showing a smaller simulation. We'll start with one singularity, prove the concept works, then scale up gradually. Humans are good at testing things safely. After more discussion and several modifications to their plan, Sith finally agreed to present their solution to the Council. The response came faster than anyone expected. They were given permission to try, but with one condition. If anything went wrong, Earth would be held responsible. They're setting us up, Taiwan said privately to Hejin after hearing the terms. If we fail, they'll use it as proof that humans are too dangerous. If we succeed, Hejin finished, they'll have to accept that humans can do things they thought were impossible. Either way, we have to try. We can't let millions die just because we're afraid of political consequences. The next day, the EF's Horizon began preparations for their mission to Proxima Centauri. As they worked, none of them knew that their solution had already sent shockwaves through the Council. The mere fact that humans had found a possible answer using methods the Council had deemed too dangerous was exactly what many Council members feared most. But for the crew of the Horizon, none of that mattered. They had a star to save, and in true human fashion, they were going to try the impossible to make it happen. As they made their final preparations, Hejin gathered his crew. Whatever happens next, he told them, we're about to show the galaxy what humans can really do. Let's make sure they remember it for the right reasons. The ship's engines hummed to life, and the Horizon set course for Proxima Centauri. Their greatest test was about to begin, and with it, humanity's chance to prove they deserved a place among the stars. The EFs at Horizon moved through space toward Proxima Centauri, while cultural liaison Taiwan worked late in the ship's library. Ambassador Xith had given them access to the Council's archives, and Taiwan felt there was more to learn about their situation. Computer, show me historical records of other species who developed faster than average, he said, his eyes tired from hours of reading. The computer displayed several files. Most were short, ending with notes about natural disasters or technological failures that had ended these civilizations. Taiwan noticed a pattern. Each civilization had shown unusual progress, like humans, but none had survived long enough to join the Council. Computer, cross-referenced these events with Council observation records, Taiwan ordered, feeling uneasy. A new set of files appeared. They were sealed with high-level security, but Ambassador Xith's access code still worked. As Taiwan read, his face grew pale. He immediately called Commander Hejin. Commander, you need to see this, Taiwan said when Hejin arrived. These civilizations didn't fail naturally. The Council made them fail. Hejin leaned over the display, reading quickly. Are you sure? Look at this one. Taiwan pointed to a file. They were like us. Adaptable, creative. They were developing clean energy solutions. Then their main power plant had an accident. The Council's secret records show they caused it. Why? Hejin asked, though he was beginning to understand. Fear, Taiwan said simply. The Council claims to protect galactic stability, but really they protect their own power. They eliminate species that might change the status quo. Hejin straightened up. Get Sun Mai and Jai-Ho here. Now. When the team gathered, Taiwan explained what he had found. The Council had sabotaged at least 7 other civilizations that showed unusual potential. Each time, they made it look like a natural disaster or technological failure. The star, Sun Mai said suddenly. Could they have caused Proxima Centauri's problem? Jai-Ho pulled up their stellar data. The patterns we found, they weren't natural. We assumed it was a random event, but what if someone designed it? As a trap, He-Jin finished. They're not testing us. They're setting us up to fail. The crew sat in silence, processing this information. Their mission had suddenly become much more dangerous. We need to contact Earth, He-Jin decided. Warn them. Communications are down. Sun Mai reported after checking the systems. We're being jammed. They must have detected our access to the restricted files. A new voice came over the ship's speakers. You are more perceptive than we expected, humans. They recognized Ambassador Xith's voice, but it sounded different now, colder, more mechanical. The star's condition is indeed artificial. Sith continued. It serves two purposes. First, to eliminate several emerging civilizations in nearby systems. Second, to remove humanity if you prove too innovative. You're killing millions of innocent beings just to maintain control, He-Jin said, his voice hard with anger. We are preserving order, Sith replied. Change brings chaos. Humanity brings too much change. We don't have to be enemies, Taiwan tried to reason. We could work together, share knowledge. Your kind always says that, Sith said. The others did too. But you never accept limitations. You never know when to stop pushing boundaries. The Council has preserved peace for 50,000 years. We will not let humans disrupt that peace. He-Jin looked at his crew. Without words, they all understood what they had to do. You're right about one thing, Ambassador, He-Jin said. We don't accept limitations, especially not artificial ones created by fear. He turned to his crew. Sun Mai, can we still carry out our plan for the star? Yes, she said, but if they cause the problem, then they probably know how to stop us. Jai-Ho finished. Maybe, He-Jin agreed, but they don't know everything about humans. Send a message to all nearby systems. Tell them what the Council is doing. Taiwan, transmit the evidence you found on every frequency. They'll try to stop us, Taiwan warned. Of course they will, He-Jin said, but they've made one serious mistake. They've given us no choice but to succeed. The next few hours were intense. The horizon detected multiple Council ships approaching, but they had a head start. And more importantly, they had a plan. Think about it, Jai-Ho said as they worked. They caused the star's instability using standard Council technology. They expect us to try standard solutions. But our solution isn't standard, Sun Mai realized. They might not even understand how it works. Exactly, He-Jin said. They think they're forcing us to reveal our dangerous potential. Instead, we'll show them our potential to save lives. As they neared Proxima Centauri, Council ships appeared around them. Ambassador Xith's voice came again. This is your final warning. Leave this sector immediately or be destroyed. No, He-Jin replied simply. We're going to save that star and the systems around it. You can either help us or watch us do it anyway. You would risk war with the Council. We would risk anything to save innocent lives, He-Jin said. That's what you fear most about us, isn't it? Not that we're dangerous, but that we make others question your authority by showing what's possible. There was a long pause. Then a new voice came over the communication system. This is Council Member Rith. Commander He-Jin speaks truth we have long denied. Rith, you dare? Sith began. I dare to think differently, Rith interrupted. Like humans do, I have watched them, studied them. Their greatest power is not their technology or their adaptability. It is their ability to inspire others to be better. More Council ships arrived, but they took positions alongside the horizon, not against it. The Council is divided, Rith explained. Many of us have argued against the policy of suppressing emerging civilizations. Perhaps it is time for change. He-Jin looked at his crew. They had come to save a star. Instead, they might change the galaxy. We have a star to save, he said. Anyone who wants to help is welcome. Anyone who wants to stop us, Well, you should know that humans are very good at overcoming obstacles. As they began their approach to Proxima Centauri, He-Jin realized that this was humanity's true test. Not whether they could save the star, but whether they could show the galaxy a better way forward. The real work was about to begin. And for the first time, humans would not be working alone. The dying star Proxima Centauri filled the main view screen of the HFY's horizon. Its surface churned with unstable energy, showing patterns that no natural star should have. Around the horizon, ships from both sides of the divided council held position, waiting to see what the humans would do. All quantum singularity generators are ready, Engineer Sunmai reported from her station. We'll only get one chance at this. Commander He-Jin nodded. Jai-Ho, start the final calculations. Tai-1, maintain communications with our allies. Everyone else, prepare for emergency maneuvers if this goes wrong. Council member Wraith's ship moved closer to the horizon. We are ready to support your effort, Commander. Though I must admit, many of us still don't fully understand your solution. Understanding isn't always necessary, He-Jin replied. Sometimes you have to trust that others might see possibilities you don't. The opposing council ships, led by Ambassador Sith, maintained their blocking position. This is your final warning, Sith announced. Your species has already revealed its dangerous potential. Stand down or face the consequences. He-Jin ignored the threat. Sunmai, start the sequence. The Horizon's new equipment, built according to their unique design, hummed to life. Around the dying star, points of intense gravity began to form. The quantum singularities that would draw off the star's excess energy. First singularity is stable, Jai-Ho announced. Energy flow is exactly as predicted. On the view screen, they could see a stream of stellar material being pulled from the star's surface, flowing into the controlled singularity. The star's erratic pulses began to slow. It's working, Sunmai said, her voice filled with quiet amazement. The feedback loop is starting to break down. Suddenly, weapons fire flashed past the horizon. Several of Sith's ships had opened fire, trying to disrupt the process. Shields holding, reported the tactical officer. But we can't take many direct hits. Before He-Jin could respond, Wraith's ships moved to intercept, placing themselves between the horizon and the attackers. Continue your work, Commander, Wraith said. We will handle this. Second and third singularities forming, Jai-Ho reported. Energy flow is stabilizing. The star's surface was changing now. The artificial patterns that had been tearing it apart were being drawn into the singularities, leaving behind a more natural stellar structure. Sith, He-Jin called over the communications channel. Look at your readings. We're not destroying the star. We're healing it. Impossible, Sith replied, but there was uncertainty in their voice. Your way isn't the only way, He-Jin continued. You've spent so long maintaining control that you've forgotten how to grow, how to change, how to find new solutions. On the screen, more energy streams connected to the quantum singularities. The star's violent pulses had almost completely stopped. Final singularity forming, Sunmai announced. Power levels are exactly where we want them. Jai-Ho studied his readings carefully. The artificial instability is breaking down. The star is returning to its natural state. He looked up with a smile. It's going to take thousands of years to die now, just like it should. The weapons fire from Sith's ships had stopped. Everyone watched as Proxima Centauri settled into a peaceful, steady glow. How? Sith's voice was barely a whisper. Our best scientists said this was impossible. Because they only looked for ways to control the problem. Tai-1 explained. We looked for ways to work with it instead. Sometimes the best solution isn't about forcing change, but guiding it. He-Jin addressed all the council ships. This is what humanity offers to the galaxy. Not destruction, not chaos, but new ways of thinking. New possibilities. We don't want to destroy your order. We want to help it evolve. There was a long silence. Finally, Wraith spoke. The council must change. This event proves it. We cannot progress if we fear new ideas. And if we resist this change, Sith asked, then you'll fall behind. He said simply, because there will always be species like humans who push boundaries and find new ways forward. You can try to stop progress, but you'll never succeed. Better to help guide it. Over the next several hours, more council ships arrived. They all saw the same thing. A star that should have exploded, now peaceful. A human solution that should have been impossible, working perfectly. The council met in emergency session. Wraith and other reform-minded members presented the evidence of the old council's sabotage of other species. They showed how fear of change had held back progress, and they pointed to the humans' achievement as proof that cooperation was better than control. 1 week later, the EF's Horizon began its journey back to Earth. They carried with them a new treaty, recognizing humanity as full members of a reformed galactic council. More importantly, they carried hope for a new way forward. You know, Ta-1 said as they watched Proxima Centauri fade behind them, they were right to fear us. How so? He asked. Because we did exactly what they were afraid of. We changed everything. Not with weapons or technology, but with ideas. With hope. Sun Me laughed softly. And all we had to do was save a star. No, Jaiho corrected her. All we had to do was be human. That was enough. The Horizon's engines hummed steadily as they headed home. Behind them, the star they had saved continued to shine, no longer a symbol of destruction, but a beacon of what was possible when fear gave way to cooperation. In the reformed council chambers, new voices were being heard. New ideas were being considered. And across the galaxy, species that had hidden their potential began to emerge, inspired by the humans who had shown them that boundaries were meant to be pushed, that impossible was just a word, and that fear of change was the greatest limitation of all. The universe had feared humans because they knew what we could do. Now they welcomed humans because they had seen what we could help them become. As the Horizon approached Earth, He wrote in his final report, "We went to the stars to prove humanity's worth. Instead, we proved something greater, that every species has the potential to exceed its limitations, if only given the chance to try." The stars sparkled around them, no longer distant and forbidden, but full of possibility. Humanity had taken its first true steps into the galaxy, not as conquerors or destroyers, but as innovators and inspirers. The universe would never be the same, and that was exactly as it should be.